Hi there, boys and girls. It's time once again for Reading Workshop. Today, I want us to start looking at discovering lessons that familiar stories teach. Have you ever gone to the Chinese restaurant before and gotten a fortune cookie for dessert? Well, I bet you couldn't wait to crack open that fortune cookie and see what's written on that strip inside of it. I've had that, I've had that experience too. And I was so excited I couldn't wait to read what was on the inside. Well, fortune cookies have life lessons inside of them. They teach us how to live right. They might say things like, have many friends, but never give up the old. Or they might say, if you work hard, you could do anything. Or it might say things like, never give up. So today I want to teach you that stories are just like fortune cookies. Each story has a little life lesson inside of it. Can you tell what lesson this familiar story teaches? Well, right before many of us went home in March for this remote learning that we are doing, we had an experience with reading this book or this book being read to us. And so I'm going to use this book to help us look at what lesson this familiar story teaches. So at first it started off with this book, Ish, written by Peter Reynolds, started off with Ramon, who was that little boy who liked drawing a lot. He loved to draw anything, anywhere, and in any place. And then suddenly one day, we see here his brother Leon stood over his shoulder and he bursted out laughing at Ramon's drawing, saying, "What is that?" So he didn't really think that Ramon's drawing was good enough. And then because of what he did, it caused Ramon to begin to doubt himself that he was any good at drawing. And so after that, he tried and he tried to draw a vase of flowers and he wasn't feeling good about it. And he kept throwing away all the bits and pieces that he tried to draw his flower on. But while he was doing that, somewhere in this whole scenario, his sister Marisol was watching. And she was taking bits and pieces of his drawing that he threw away, and she was using them for something. So I'm going to read this little part and give you an idea of what she was doing. So Marisol, his sister, was watching him. Then he got angry. He said, "What do you want?" He snapped. "I was watching you draw," she said. Ramon sneered. "I'm not drawing. Go away." Marisol ran away, but before she ran away, she picked up a crumpled sheet of paper. "Hey, come back here with that." Ramon ran after her. And then from there, we see something else started to unfold. He ran to her room and he came in very angry and was about to shout when he noticed this beautiful gallery with all of the pieces of crumpled papers that he had thrown away. She had opened them all up and created a gallery with them because she actually loved his drawing, but he didn't know that. And then we see something here. Do you think it's going to happen? Right away, his problem was beginning to get fixed because Marisol lets him know, in fact, that the piece of drawing that he threw away with the vase on it was the most favorite she has posted on her wall. And she begins to open his eyes to see the beauty that his drawing had in it that he didn't notice before. In other words, what she wanted to let him know was that His drawing was just good enough, vase-ish, just good enough. And so as the story went on and the problem was beginning to get fixed, it got to a point where Ramon's problem just subsided. He begins to realize that after all, his best was good enough. And then when after Marisol had him realize that, he began drawing again. Because before that he had given up. Now he began to draw all kinds of different ish things because he learned that his flower was flowerish. And as we go through the story and we got to the end, we noticed that Ramon learned a lesson. And we learned a lesson right along with Ramon too. We learned a lesson that only our best is good enough. How did we learn that lesson? We can reread the ending of the story and think, how did the trouble get fixed? Then we also think, what did the character realize in the end? And then we know what the life lesson is after the problem gets fixed. So today, boys and girls, you have an awesome job to do. I want you to read your books and look for the life lessons in there. But before you do, let's look at these other books. Do you remember these? Iris and Walter, Mr. Potter and Tabby, and Frog and Toad. Those are familiar books. And many of them have life lessons in there. This one, friends are always there. And this one, same thing, friends are always there for each other. So today, as you read your books, I want you to look for the lessons that you're learning inside of them by rereading the ending of the story and thinking, how did the trouble get fixed? And then from there, think about what lessons the characters learn, or what did they realize in the end. Also, my life lesson to you is, I know it's getting hard reading all these different books, but I want to say, never give up. And most of all, enjoy reading.